Some people with top secret classified clearance are asking a really good question. Hey, if Donald Trump isn't prosecuted, are there going to be two different sets of laws? One that applies to him for handling classified intelligence, and one that applies to us for handling classified intelligence. And would we go to jail for things that Trump did and didn't go to jail for? Those are excellent questions. The guy putting that together actually is Richard Ojeda, a TYT contributor on Rebel Headquarters. You should check him out there. He ran for Congress in West Virginia, was a really interesting populist candidate, and he's a decorated veteran. And someone else joining him is Representative Ted Lieu, US Congressman, in fact, my congressman. So there's some real heavy hitters here, and Congressman Lieu is a former colonel. And so I will get to that in a second. But first, they put out a letter to the Department of Justice. Let me read you a part of it. It says, national security clearance, as folks like me know, is something that we are entrusted by the nation that we have sworn to protect. We gain our clearance, we do so with the recognition that if we reveal those secrets, our country has a right to punish us. Any one of us knows that imprisonment is a possibility for breaking our oath, which is why we're angry that our former President Trump thinks he's above the law. How many thousands of us are true to our word? My fellow vets and I served this country through far more treacherous situations than any he's ever been in. We're sworn to our country, so we understand the gravity of these secrets. Now that's an excellent point, and that's why what the Department of Justice does or doesn't do here with what appears to be massive violations of how you handle classified intelligence for Donald Trump is going to have consequential effects. Will there then be a political test? If a Republican handles documents in a certain way, or someone who's part of the elites handles documents in a certain way, they get different rules. But people who have normal classified intelligence get prosecuted to the full extent of the law. So among the people that are asking this are, as I said, that's jumping the gun, Representative Ted Lieu. He's a retired colonel in the US Air Force Reserves. Richard Ojeda, retired US Army. All these folks are retired today. Alfonso Epps, who was a sergeant major, and Dennis White, who was in the Army as well. And he was a staff sergeant. So they have this up on No Dem Left Behind. That is a pact that Richard's involved with. They have the letter, and they're asking for more people that have classified intelligence to sign the letter, demanding that there be equal treatment here. Now, I got some videos from Ojeda himself to make the case, but I wanted to pause here to get Anna's thoughts.
I mean, you know where I stand on this issue. I think that the justice system should treat everyone equally, and there shouldn't be a two-tier justice system for the so-called non-elite versus the elite. And we've seen far too often in this country that the president can commit all sorts of crimes, including literal war crimes and illegal spying on American citizens, and get away with it. We have this endless trend of incoming presidents saying that they refuse to prosecute former presidents who have committed crimes. In this case, we have a DOJ investigation. I'm uncertain about the outcome of this investigation, meaning I'm uncertain whether the DOJ is really going to prosecute Trump to the fullest extent of the law, but he absolutely should be. Now, continue. I have other commentary, but I'll wait till you have some more details.
All right, so Ojeda made a video actually on Rebel Headquarters about this, and he talks about why a SCIF is so important. A SCIF is, well, he'll explain a little bit the exact nature of it. But the point being here is some information is so top secret, you are not allowed to take it out of that particular room, which is very, very heavily guarded. So we'll let Ojeda explain the rest.
To be in possession of items that are listed as secret or top secret and not be inside of a SCIF would, not could, but would not only cause you to lose your security clearance, but could also lead you to lose your freedom. Talking about conversations you had inside of a SCIF, sensitive, compartmented information facility with someone outside of a SCIF can literally be defined as treason.
And now the Justice Department also looking into whether he did have conversations with other people. For example, they're fingerprinting the documents. If there are other nationals' fingerprints on those documents, that is going to be devastating. Well, of course, devastating only to rational people. The Republicans will become even more convinced. Of course, He should have sold the weapons. That's really smart with the weapons information to the worst people in the world. But we'll wait for that. That hasn't happened yet. But certainly he should be held to the same standards as Ojeda points out there. If he took files out of a skiff, he would be immediately prosecuted. So would the congressman, so would all of them. Now, he also explains how bad a violation this is.
11 boxes of sensitive documents, some listed as only the highest level of security clearance can see or know about, just sitting in boxes in a garage or a storage room at Mar-a-Lago. Any person who has ever served in the military that has obtained a secret or top secret security clearance being caught with such important documents outside of a skiff would not only lose their clearances, but would immediately face a court martial where it is almost certain their next home would be that of Fort Leavenworth, Kansas.
Guys, you really can't argue with that. You know that if it was anyone else, regardless of politics, just a person who's a regular member of the services, but has classified intelligence or a member of the intelligence community, top secret information. If they took it home, they're going to Fort Leavenworth. You know it. If they mishandled it and they did it on purpose, let alone, I mean, that's a second layer to it. They'd go even if they didn't mishandle it on purpose. But if they did, oh boy, they'd be in massive trouble. Speaking of which, one more from Ojeda.
I spent 24 years in the United States Army, and I'm going to tell you that everybody that I know that has also held a secret or top secret security clearance right now is literally shocked that we don't see Donald Trump already in handcuffs, because if it was any one of us, we would be, and that's a fact. Sappers clear the way, airborne all the way.
Casper, thoughts?
I love his sign off. I had to mention that and put a smile on my face. Number two, you know, we can't forget what happened to Chelsea Manning, what happened to Edward Snowden, what happened to and continues to happen to Julian Assange. Okay, and those are cases pertaining to classified documents which showed that our government was engaging in behavior that was getting innocent people killed, that was in some cases committing war crimes, and they were prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. In the case of Julian Assange, we still have the United States government and the DOJ trying to prosecute him, trying to expedite him here to the United States to prosecute him to the fullest extent of the law, okay? It's amazing that when it comes to informing the American people that are supposed to be living in a democracy about what their government is actually up to, it's unacceptable, okay? Treason, they need to be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. When it comes to Donald Trump, we really need to ask, I know that everyone in the broadly speaking left agrees with this, but for our friends on the right, does it make sense to send the message that the president of the United States is above the law regardless of what he does, even if the incident pertains to highly classified top secret documents, including documents that have to do with nuclear weapons? Does it make sense to sell your country out on behalf of your preferred politician? It doesn't make sense. And it does send a message to future administrations that they're above the law and they can do whatever they want. They might be investigated, but the investigation is just a dog and pony show. It doesn't actually result in actual consequences.
Now, usual points about Democrats and Republicans. Notice that we're trying to convince Department of Justice in a Democratic administration to hold Republicans accountable to the law, the bare minimum. We're not asking them to punish Republicans for political reasons. We would absolutely despise that. We're saying, can you just apply the law evenly? Because we're worried Democrats are going to cheat on behalf of Republicans. Now, on the other side, the Republicans, now there's some populist right-wingers that say, no, you should let go of Julian Assange, and I give them credit for at least consistency. But 90% of the Republican Party, certainly elected officials, say, no, Julian Assange is enemy of the state and should be prosecuted fully. They all then turn around and say Trump should not be prosecuted. It would be an amazing moment, and they would have no problem doing it because they love hypocrisy, and their voters never, ever notice it, and the mainstream media hardly ever points it out. But I could see Republican senators going, Julian Assange should be put in jail for the rest of his life for doing the same exact thing as Donald Trump. And Donald Trump should walk and get absolutely nothing.
I mean,
they don't care about logic. They'll do it. They'll definitely do it.
You can make the case, actually I will make the case and I stand firmly behind it, that Julian Assange did not do something similar to what Donald Trump did. Donald Trump knowingly took classified documents out of the White House and took it home with him to Mar-a-Lago. He did that personally. He took documents he knew he wasn't supposed to take. Whereas WikiLeaks did exactly what any decent journalist would do, which is when classified documents are handed to a journalist, what is a journalist supposed to do? Not report on them? There's no evidence to indicate that he stole the classified documents, but nonetheless, he's the one who's dealing with all these goons within our Justice Department who want to prosecute him to the fullest extent of the law and probably throw him in solitary confinement for the rest of his life.
Yeah, so I don't want anyone to misunderstand what I'm saying. Anna's absolutely right. Julian Assange didn't do anything wrong in the initial charges that they charged him with, including the Espionage Act. He was actually being a journalist, not like Donald Trump, who took him home for no goddamn reason. There is no reason to take him home other than to sell him. Anyways, but they should do a real investigation of that. And my point is that the Republicans are going to be hypocrites no matter what, even if it was even. They would say, no, the journalists should go to jail and our political daddy should walk. Look, you remember the fist bump that they had? So this was all after my entire life, 50 years of Republicans saying, we love veterans, support the troops. We start all these wars, not for defense contractors, not so we can engorge ourselves in bribes, but because we love veterans so much. And then they were asking for money for veterans who were sick because of the wars. And not only did they shoot that bill down initially, they fist bumped over it. Here, show them the video.
Mr. Dance, no.
Yeah, so Cruz, Hawley, all those guys spitting on veterans. Now, anybody with classified intelligence, if you did anything slightly wrong, they want you to go to jail for a long, long time. But Donald Trump, he's gonna skate. Last word goes back to Ojeda and Lieu's letter. Ojeda wrote, we wanna know that our discretion was not for nothing, that we protected our country as best we could. This government trusted us with their secrets, and we hope that in turn, we can trust the Department of Justice to pursue justice. Damn right, airborne all the way.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.